Konnichiwa. Watashi wa no maina son of Stark. For those of you that are not Japanese inclined, that means hello, my name is the Son of Stark. And this is, you guessed it, another episode of The Rant Show. I just finished watching, if I can clear some stuff out of the way, just finished watching this. Okay? This came in the mail via Amazon.com, via MonsterIslandToys.com. This, I know it's all in Japanese, so you can't read it. It all says, Mega Monster Battle, Ultra Galaxy Legends. This is an Ultraman movie. For those of you that may have seen the Ultraman Tiga show on the Fox Kids, what was it then? Foxbox? I think it was at the time. Back in the early 2000s. This is the hardcore stuff. Storyline goes that long time ago there was an Ultraman named Belial. Yeah, nice bit of foreshadowing there, isn't it? That went off the deep end because he tried to absorb the power of the Ultra's artificial sun. We actually get to learn the history of the Ultras, these gigantic, tall as a building warriors who are seemingly capable of anything. And we actually get to learn that at one point their ancestors were very much like us humans. Then their sun exploded. And it looked like all hope was lost, but they didn't give up. Their ancestors went and built a freaking artificial sun. And to keep their planet alive. And then they found out that the radiation this thing kicked out had some side effects. Namely, it mutated them into very powerful but strange looking giant silver and red beings that came to be called Ultramen and Ultra Women. And then at one point along the way, Ultraman Belial, in an attempt to try to gain more power, went and tried to absorb the power of the plasma spark, the artificial sun. It didn't work out so well. It kind of really messed him up. It was way more power than he could handle. And then they chased him off the planet, exiled him to the far reaches of space, where the spirit of the long deceased kind of alien monster king called Raybrad found him and kind of turned him into his vessel for vengeance, and vessel for trying to conquer the world anew, trying to conquer the universe anew. And that's how Ultraman Belial turned into this dude. Yeah, this big ugly right here on the side. Yep, that's because an Ultra tried to absorb more power than he could handle, and then got fused with an alien monster spirit. There's almost a full body shot right here of him. I know it's not that great, but right here, right there with the purple dot in his chest. It's not that great an image, considering this webcam's not that strong, but it gives you an overall idea of what he looks like, full body wise. So after this, he attacks the Land of Light and just trashes all these young Ultra heroes that have yet to become as powerful as we know them in the more modern times. Uh, and then it gets to the point where the King of the Ultras, Ultraman King, appropriately titled, isn't he? Has to show up, and he locks Belial away in this massive prison they keep out in space, with guards posted 24/7. And they take his Giga Battlenizer. Yeah, Giga. Say that with me. Giga Battlenizer. Try saying that 5 times fast. Which is this huge staff weapon, which also allows someone with Raybrad power or Raybrad DNA to control up to 100 monsters. So yeah, and they lock that away in a place called the Land of Fire. And well, this alien at the start of the movie can shapeshift. Somehow he already got a hold of the Giga Battlenizer. They don't let on how he did that. Somehow he got his hands on that, and then he disguised himself as an Ultra, assaulted the space prison, took out the guards, and freed Belial. So he was a fairly capable guy. And then he was hoping to use Belial to, like, take over the universe, and then Belial went and him. Then took the Giga Battlenizer and kind of went on a rampage on the planet Ultra, or the Land of Light, as it's also known. And, well, pretty much trashed everybody, and I'm talking even the people who were the stars of their own shows. And thus they were Ultras that had battled an entire army of monsters just about on their own, or with only one other Ultra to help them on Earth, and that's why they're great heroes. He trashes everybody and manages to take the Plasma Spark. And apparently this was all that was keeping the planet from flash freezing. As soon as he takes it and makes off with it, the whole planet flash freezes. Ultraman Taro manages to preserve a small amount of the power, which comes in handy later when a few of the Ultras that manage to avoid getting frozen need a little pick-me-up for the final battle. We also discover Ray, who's a young Japanese man for Zap Spacey. Zap is the latest kind of like Earth Defense Force, and the Spacey, appropriately, is their space division. Ray is a Rayonics, which means he has Raybrad DNA inside him, which means he can use a regular Battlenizer, which is a handheld device. Obviously, I don't have one, but this is about the way he holds it. It's this box-looking thing that has this blue and gold faceplate on it. And let me see if I can find a picture of. Oh, here we go. There's Ray, right here in the center. That's Ray, and that blue and gold thing in his hand that he's holding up in the air, that's his Battlenizer. Okay? And that's a regular one, and of course Belial has the Giga one, which is the gigantic one. But he also suffers from the fact that the Raybrad is kind of a sadistic people, so he kind of has to try to keep himself in check, or he might go completely. But he ends up being a big help. He, along with Ultraman Zero, who's the dude with the twin horns on his head on this side. Here he is, right here on the front, opposite of Ultraman Belial. The interesting contrast between these two, between Belial and Zero, is that Zero also tried to take the power of the Plasma Spark, and he got exiled by Ultra 7, which we later find out is his father. Yeah, so it's just Dad actually looking out for him, but, you know, he doesn't just tell him he's his dad, and he's a little harsh on him. But, yeah, he gets exiled, and Ultraman Leo tries to train him until all heck breaks loose thanks to Belial, and Zero has to come to save the day. Zero kicks a lot of giant monster butt. I mean, without using his lasers, without using the laser beam attacks that all Ultras are capable of, just using his fists, his feet, and these things on his head will actually come off and turn into these dual-wielding knife weapons. So that's something he got from his dad, because Ultra 7 had one head fin that ran along the top of his head. He could remove that and turn it into one blade weapon. Zero gets two. He ends up beating the crap out of quite a lot of monsters, and the other Ultras do their best, even though they've been fighting longer and they're kind of a little more on the weak side. Then after, there's something to be said about Zero's power, because his big finishing maneuver is he takes these things on his head that I said were removable, and he sticks them, attaches them to the side of that crystal, the sides of that crystal there on his chest. Every Ultra has one. It's kind of like a power/health meter. He attaches them to the sides of that thing and charges up this massive energy blast that is so strong that it pushes him back. You see his feet drag across the ground as he's being pushed back by the force of his own power. But still, Belial won't die. He fuses with all the giant monsters. Ray uses the Battlenizer that he has on the Giga Battlenizer and kind of makes the monsters revolt, which holds mutant Belial steady long enough for all the Ultras to kind of charge up one last attack. They all unleash it. Zero gets a charge up from the Plasma Spark, which turns his knife weapons into something that I believe a lot of Star Trek fans would freak out over, because it kind of looks like that double-sided weapon that the Klingons use. And they managed to defeat Belial. They're the big heroes. They thank the humans in Zap Spacey for their efforts. Ultraman King does a little speech, and the movie ends with everything seeming to be okay until we see where Belial lays and his eyes glow, so he's not quite dead. Which leads into the second movie I'll get to later. Do I recommend picking this up? Yes. It's all in Japanese, but thankfully it does include subtitles. So, and it's just the movie. You pop it in, it starts playing. But it has subtitles. Very good action. If you like monster movies, if you like fighting movies, if you like hero stories, very good one. Highly recommend it. And just because I can, I'm going to use Ultraman Taro's attack to finish this. So, Stormium Tousen! Goodbye.